Welcome to the Catalyst for Growth podcast, a place where we talk about everything under the sun regarding the journey of the professional salesperson. Welcome the host of the C4G Sales Success podcast, John Kailunas II. Take it away, big guy.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Catalyst for Growth. This is John Kailunas II, and today I've got a good buddy of mine, Carlos Guzman. So Carlos and I have got a long history together, and we'll share that with you today. We appreciate you listening to these episodes. Again, this is for financial advisors to help them get better each and every day. So what we want to do is take some time and learn about people's stories and learn about some of the things that they've done well, some of the things they failed at, to see if we can help improve your situation. So every Wednesday, an episode drops. You can get all the information on Catalyst for Growth. That's number 4, growth.org. So we're in Vegas again, Vegas Content Studios. We appreciate them taking care of us and helping us with these broadcasts. So Carlos, welcome.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
I get with great intro like that. I get nice.
Very nice.
Carlos, how long have we known each other?
Well, I think we're going to go back to about 2019, early 19. So,
all right, so it's been a while.
6 years.
Seems a long time. It seems like we've been buddies a long, long time. It feels older than that, longer than that. Yeah. No offense. But
yeah, no, it does.
What's that old joke? If you were dying, you want to go spend time with you because time takes longer. It's just a joke like that. I usually use it with Carlson. So
it's been 6 years, maybe a little longer.
And we met in an IMO that we did business with, and you're still doing business, but we met through a program. So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got in the business, and what you were looking for, and how we actually, teamed up initially.
So how I got into the business. I'll start with the insurance business because that's what led me to Regal. Started doing mortgages back in 2000, and within a couple of years, started realizing I wanted to do more for my clients than your traditional refi. Got into insurance, started doing insurance in 2005 up until 2016, insurance only. Then got my Series 65, was working with an RIA. Can't remember the name. I believe it's Brookstone or Brooks something. Was referred there by my IMO. Thought that that'd be a good place for me to learn. Spent maybe 2 years there, something like that. Didn't learn absolutely nothing. Is
that because of you or because they weren't really invested in training advisors?
No, bro, it's not because of me. Come on. I
think you're hard-headed, man. There's been times you and I have had to arm wrestle to get a point through.
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty open to learning, and it wasn't the right fit. I needed to be handheld. Literally, I had no idea what I was doing, so I needed that. They weren't the right fit for what I did. And then through that IMO, they started that program where they brought in Regal. One of the things I needed to do was to switch over to Regal and commit to Regal. We were going to do that program, which that was like the easiest thing because I was already looking for a new RIA. Started talking about what the program would look like. We're planning what it's going to look like. Seemed interested, taking insurance and AUM and mixing it together and working literally for the better good of the client. And so we did that, and that's where it started. But then once I found Regal, it was like, yeah, this is home, man. This is.
Yeah, I think when you came to us, you basically had zero in your practice. You were starting really from ground zero, and you've built in 5-6 years a heck of a nice business.
Yeah, and is it where I want it to be? Absolutely not. But one of the things that I've really come to appreciate is the quality of life aspect, which is something that Regal has preached and talked about for a long time. It's the quality of life, which I think the quality of the business or your clients that you have, the relationships really opens up to that. And so when I came over to Regal, like you said, I didn't even have $1 million under management. And the little that I had was from existing clients through the insurance that I had built trust over that time. So they were just low-hanging fruit. It was simple, but I really didn't know what I was doing.
I remember we had you come up to Grand Rapids for training, and you were such a pain in the ass. This guy, ladies and gentlemen, I had a G-Wagon at the time, and he jumps in the front seat of the car. We had done our cocktail hour. I was going home. I had lived there at that time in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And this guy, who I don't know, I've talked to him for maybe 15, 20 minutes, an hour, I don't know what it was, at the dinner and cocktail party, jumps in the front of my car and says truck, and he's not leaving until I commit to him. And I'm like, you have to, I have to go home. You have to go to the hotel. And he's like, nope. And we went out and had a couple more drinks, and I really admired his desire to be successful and the urgency you claimed you had, and how your ability to work. And you are a hard worker, and it's been a wonderful relationship. But yeah, you almost kidnapped me in my own truck.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's one of the coolest stories, because I hadn't met you in person, had heard your voice through, telephone or whatever. And then we meet you, and, we're all in this
Meeting
mixer
room.
or whatever. Yeah. So nobody really knows anybody. And, everybody's intimidated by you. They're like, oh, there's the big man. All right. And then you and I just started talking, just, kind of connecting. And then I remember being in the parking lot. And the reason I said I stuck to you was I had told one of the guys, I'm like, dude, it's cold here. I'm from SoCal. So we were there, I think it was January.
Yeah, it was.
Which I wasn't prepared. And you guys had your snow coats, which we don't have that in California because there's no need, right?
We just call them coats.
Coats. So I'm like, I don't have any of that. And I remember sticking to you, and I'm like, yeah, you're taking me back to the hotel. There's no way I'm walking in this shit. And you were just laughing, like playing it off like, yeah, whatever, dude. And the hotel was probably, a quarter mile away?
Yeah.
Not that far.
Yeah.
But I still was refusing to do it. And I just remember following you, and everybody there was like, you're literally holding him to it. He's going to drive. I'm like, oh, I'm going to jump in his car, watch. Just pick his brain. And that's what it was. And we ended up having a good night of drinking, smoking some cigars, getting to know each other. The funny thing is, I don't remember getting home. I truly didn't, to the hotel. And the next morning, Lee is calling me and like, hey, are you up? I'm like, oh, I'm up.
Yeah, Lee's been on the podcast. Lee, he's one of our advisor advocates. Great guy.
So I got up the next morning. I normally don't drink that much. And I was hurting, but I knew it's first time there with new people, got to show up. So showed up and learned a lot. That was the last time we went out for drinks after any events here. So it's always been now, okay, can't go out for drinks. I need to be available for the next day. But no, it was awesome, man. And just getting to know you on a different level, it just seemed like it was the right fit. Not only
we went to
but personally.
Didn't we go to the Lithuanian club?
I don't even know where you took me.
Yeah, so my great-grandfather, when he came over from Lithuania, started he was one of the founding members of the Lithuanian Club. My dad now is the oldest living member at 86. Wow. But my son and I are members, and the dues are a whopping $27 a year. But it has really an insurance route. It started as an aid society. So when the immigrants came over, there wasn't insurance in the factories. So they banded together by ethnic type and then religious and form these insurance. So they had dues. So I think if I get disabled, I think Deborah it's like $2.50 a week for 6 months. It's something funny. Yeah. They've never changed the benefit period. And it's become sort of a social club. So we spent time there.
Yeah, it was a good time.
So, Carlos, when you came to Grand Rapids and those impact meetings that we had, we have them with about 12 to 15 advisors, and we literally go through soups to nuts. What were the takeaways from it? Because you might be one of the people you've probably been to the most of them.
I've been to all of them.
Yeah.
And I take pride in that. But literally, I've been to all of them.
Yeah, because you're always coming and mooching off and eating and drinking. No, but yeah, you might have been to all of them.
Yeah, I've been to all of them.
So we have them a couple times a year. Mm-hmm. So what do you pick up from those? No, first of all, would you pick up the first one regarding our culture? And then secondly, what do you pick up from all the subsequential ones that you go to?
The first one, I think what I picked up was I didn't know jack. I didn't know anything about AUM. I didn't know how to run a practice. I didn't know the strategies and the portfolios. I didn't know how to properly prospect. I didn't know anything. Like I said, I needed to be handheld through the whole process. I remember sitting close to the front. I remember having questions and the fund managers asking questions or talking and raising my hand and asking the stupidest question, like basic, not understanding anything, some smirks in the back, and then actually getting the answers that I needed. And so I started from there, and it just seemed like the right place. Nobody, closed the door on me. Everybody was willing to help, answer questions, hold me accountable. It just gave me the confidence that, okay, I can do this. I just need to learn and get throw myself into everything that was available through Regal, which was the training, the weekly calls, the one-on-one relationships, whether it's with you, with Don Carlson, with Lee, with Jordan, with Tyler Hart, literally with whoever it was, and just picking their brain and asking them, hey, can you explain this to me? And that was the first takeaway. And then every time I've gone back, it hasn't been to get a whole bunch of new information. It's always been a goal to get one nugget, something that I can take back and apply. And every time I do, my business I just write business really quickly out of the gate when I get back home.
You do write business.
And so it's pretty cool. And it's another way to keep in touch with the staff, with the people at Regal, because we're so far away. And, I absolutely love them. The ones who have left, I miss. The ones who are there now. And so keeping that, that relationship going face to face and checking in with people. So I really do enjoy just hanging out with the Regal staff.
Well, you're really well respected by the staff. And it's because I think people know how hardworking you are and how authentic you are. I mean, there's no airs about you. I think that's what really, between you and I, building a friendship is we are who we are. There were no airs about or pretentious and there wasn't anything. It was just, we were just two guys and we had a common love of family.
Yep.
And a common love of the business and trying to get better. And we built a, relationship off of that.
Yeah. I believe so too.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, so when we're in that IMO, there was a marketing program they had.
Mm-hmm.
And in that marketing program, they would pay for seminars and stuff, and then you'd write the business, and everything was hunky dory. What didn't fit with you in that? Because it wasn't successful, right? And I think what most advisors don't know is that you're going to try things 10 times and fail probably 8 or 9 of them, and it's the advisor that gets up like you do. I mean, you're the type of guy when you fail, I'm sort of happy about it because I know you're going to get up again. And you're one step closer to a yes.
Yeah.
Because you're just stubborn as a mule, man. You're a worker, and you just go at it. So you always put forth effort with a positive attitude, and a lot of advisors don't do that. They try something, they quit, and then for 6 months the best thing to do is have a mad Carlos if something didn't work, so because you'll go back and you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's just the background, just coming from where I come from, which, my background, parents, immigrants from Mexico, didn't come knowing anybody here, literally worked their butts off. They, put us through school, instilled that hard work ethic. And I owe that to my parents. I owe that to my dad who just passed, and just thinking, how can somebody leave a country, not speak the language, not have anybody here, yet spend 53 years here and slowly build his life for his kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. And so I think nothing that we do is hard compared to what he's gone through. So when somebody says, "Oh, this is
very
hard,"
true.
It's like, talk to the people who are digging ditches. What hard is, And so going back to when I started with that program that we started, I think the reason it wasn't successful was because I wasn't prepared to be put in front of a group of strangers and talk about investments. That was one. The second one was when somebody funds your, whatever, your marketing or anything, there's something in the back end for them. So they do control to a certain degree what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, how you're going to look. And I remember sitting there, and I tell my kids this, because now I've got 2 daughters that are 28 and 26. One of them just started her teaching a month ago. The other one is an accountant. And I have 2 sons who are 24 and 22. They're more blue collar work. But I told my daughter this last week. I said, when you start teaching, you don't know anything. That's expected. But there's a process, just like anything we've ever done in our lives. Any of us, we've always sucked at it first. Whether it was walking, we sucked at walking, reading, playing sports. Which
you failed.
You fail, right? And if you quit, you'll never learn. So with that in mind, I just thought, okay, I remember this one moment. Couple comes up to me after the very first seminar. I'm dressed up in a 3-piece suit. And they asked me, what's the difference between, or what do you think is more important, growth, or what was it? Growth or like fixed income. And I didn't understand what they were talking about. And I tried to bullshit my way through it. Didn't happen. Didn't get to see them. And I just remember feeling just dumb. Like I didn't know what I didn't know. This was prior to meeting with you and going through the whole process. And so I think the reason why I didn't succeed was, number one, I wasn't being authentic to who I am. You'll never see me in a 3-piece suit. That's just not my style. Number two, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have enough information. I knew the insurance side perfectly well. It was the AUM. And so that's the part that I think
authenticity is probably, if you look at a client, the number one thing they want, according to Sorelli Associates, and I think it's 87%, they want trust of an advisor. I don't think someone can trust you without being authentic. And I think that's something that's commonly missed in our business, right? People try to, fake it till you make it. That's a disaster, man. That's a disaster.
I just thought of that probably last night, prepping for today, thinking, and I remember that. I actually thought of that last night, faking it till you make it. And I was faking it, which was not good because it comes off, right? There's just something there. But yeah, and just getting up, man, when you don't know, just keep plugging away.
Well, the other things, you say is we have the ability to select our clients like they have the ability to select us. And I tell you what, my best clients are people that are like me and we have an authentic, true relationship. They could be completely different people, but their core values are similar. The way they want to consume information is the way I want to deliver it. And there's a lot of similarities in that and a lot of likeness. And I think that builds strong relationships.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. And I think because I'm older, it's easier for me to be more authentic, I think, compared to a 25-year-old to 27-year-old.
I think that's fair. That's probably, there's an age bias there. Because when you're younger, you don't have that experience and stuff. But, we sat down and got to know you, and then we started creating a program for you. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, it started flowing.
Yeah.
It started flowing. And we did a lot of role playing and a lot of work. I know there's times you called up Lee and called up people and said, "Hey, listen, I don't understand this. Let's go over this." And that we'd go over and make sure that you were comfortable with it. Because when you're comfortable, then you have confidence.
Yep.
That confidence leads into the authenticity. It's a whole chain of events that are coupled together.
Yeah, and I think the authenticity also, as you get older, you just have life experience, man. Aside of the financial, the professional.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And what I'm starting to learn, what I've learned, this may be going off topic though, is what I do is a lot of psychology, man. So you better have a balanced life experience. In other words, it can't just be business and you don't have anything else, because the clients, they're going to come to you and they're going to unload on you with their personal problems that aren't even necessarily their investments. So how do you encourage them? How do you keep them on track? How do you, connect with them? And I think just the experiences throughout my life and sharing those and being transparent with those, I think connects me to my clients. I had one client, I'll talk about her, did the seminars. This was back then in like 19. And we had a Saturday morning appointment, had it on my calendar. And for some reason, I missed it. Saturday morning comes, it's raining. She drove about 45 minutes to the office. She's at the front door and she calls me. It's like 9:30 in the morning. I'm in bed. And I'm like, shit, I forgot. And I didn't make any excuses. I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry. Is there any way we can reschedule this for next week? I will go to you, same time, same, Saturday. And she was like, yes. So I go the next week and I'm thinking like, man, I'm going to get, shit on because, it was my fault. I owned it. And, and I asked her, went through my process and I asked her, hey, well, why did you give me another chance? She's like, because you didn't make an excuse. You literally owned your mistake, and we're all human. We make mistakes, and there's nothing worse than somebody trying to twist it around, make excuses. And she's still with me as a client, her and her husband, and that stood with me. And I think one of the reasons people will trust an advisor is if they're first to admit that they were wrong and just say, hey, my bad, I'm sorry. And that goes a long way. I truly believe that.
Well, no, it does. You keep talking about process. We're big at creating an advisor process. So I believe in I've talked about this on this show, is I believe in talking to people about absolute performance, right? Their retirement goal is X. We're going to move towards that. That's what we're for. I don't really care what the markets do day to day or year to year, because if I'm following their risk tolerance, I've got them in a really good spot. I'm communicating with them regularly, and that here's our goal. This is where we're going. So I always sell the process, and I've taught you how to do that. How did that change the game for you about working on the process? And it's not just the latest, hottest investment, or I have an alt for you, or this is a slick, this strategy's killing it. How did you get to a point where you believed in the process and you used the process?
So I had my own start, like my first appointment process on how to gather information and start getting the clients to start thinking outside of their the low point of entry level, right? Most clients, the two things they're going to talk to you, prospects, not even clients, prospects, are what are your fees? What is your average return? That's a game for fools. Nobody's going to win that, right? So
let's talk a little bit about that. That is a game of fools, because there's always going to be somebody cheaper. There's always going to have a better. You're never going to have the number one investment option. There used to be a thing on Money Magazine that talked about the top mutual fund to own, the 20 you can't live without. And there was a study done that they took all 20 mutual funds that the Money Magazine put out. And again, my data might be a little bit off, but literally none of them repeated. So you put somebody in a fund, and then all of a sudden you're chasing returns, and you're also your expenses are going through the roof doing that. But more importantly, you're not controlling the client and helping them. They're so running around, and they're running the meetings. I mean, they don't need you.
Yeah,
you're adding no value.
Yep.
They can go to Vanguard Direct and go chase things. So you need to control the client and everything. And I do that part of it with a process, right? That we go through. And when I talk about the process, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about just simplistically, they're all different, but simplistically, think of the CFP wheel and the components in that. People use different terms for that wheel, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about giving a client a process and following a process so they know what to expect, because they're nervous about meeting you, right? You come to the office and you got to disrobe all your finances and all of your dirty laundry to get good, solid advice. And so they want to know that it'll be taken care of, and our process does that. And it's repeatable, and other people on the team can come in and take a part of that process and help out. So how did that work for you? Because that was a big mind shift for you. You had part of it. Yeah, I mean, when I first met you, I knew that's where you sort of wanted to go, but you hadn't thought it all the way through yet, and you had no one to sort of teach you that all the way through.
So the process, once we got the discovery, we'll call it the first cog, right? Discovery's out the way. That's where I was lost. I could gather the information. I could gather statements. I didn't know what the hell to do with them. I didn't know where to place them. I didn't know.
We're sitting there talking. You gathered all the documents because you were an ex-mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And that you had to. There was no problem with you asking for everything, because something like you had to as a mortgage broker.
There's a story behind that. So back in 2005, right? What got us into the financial crisis? All these no income, no assets, stated income, all that stuff. So for mortgages, I was so different from the loan officers in our shop, because they didn't, like, if you had a 4-page application, it got so simple. All you needed was name, date of birth, social security, no employment, it was a 1-page. So when I got into insurance, what I started doing, because I was leading with mortgages, but I was looking backdoor with insurance products. So I was just gathering everything, 401 statement, all of their investments, insurance. And everybody would look at me, why the hell are you hiring? Why are you gathering all of that? I was like, well, this is what I do. I need to get all this. So that was easy for me. So when I got to Regal, in the beginning, when I didn't know anything, I just knew my first appointment, I need to gather all the information as much as possible, ask the questions, those open-ended questions, give me a vision, create that vision, and then bring that back. And that was what was cool about the process, was bringing it back to Lee, Jordan, and saying, hey, this is what I have. I need your help to help me put it to and explain to me how to explain it to the client.
That's our Pro Plan Assist program. Yep. So you bring all the information and then they'll help you do case design. And then also, I think the most important part, to show you how to deliver that case design in a way.
All the deliverables, right? And then you deliver them. You start to put in the applications, make the movements, the accounts, all of that, and then the reviews, and let them know this is part of the process. I'm very anal with my reviews. So every quarter I'm calling people, emailing. And so just checking in, not that we're going to make changes, but let's check in and see if anything's changed. And so that process was instilled. Probably it took, I'm going to say, about 1.5 to 2 years before I felt comfortable enough where I could call up Lee or Jordan and say, okay, this is what I have. And they would tell me, what do you recommend? And then I would go ahead and say, this is what I'm thinking.
That's definitely a Lee move.
Yeah.
That's
And then
definitely
he
a Lee
would
move.
chime in, well, what about
Yeah.
this? Or he played devil's advocate to
Yeah.
get me to explain why. Because one of the things that he made clear and you've made clear is I'm the one who's going to be sitting with that client.
It's your sole responsibility.
Yep.
We can help you, but it's your responsibility. You are the fiduciary.
Yep.
So our job is to support you. It's almost like I know your philosophy of kids. You'll do anything for your kids,
Yep.
and sometimes you got to give them tough love. Sometimes you got to give them a real hug and move them along the process. But I think that's sort of the process of a platform too that really cares about advisors. Is you've got to sometimes give them tough love, but you've also got to give them a hug and let them know they did a good job. And I think our firm does that really well.
Yeah.
I think it does it really well.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we grow and why we retain the advisors we retain.
I'll say your firm. I'll say our firm.
I like that.
Yeah, it's ours.
You somehow slipped me a check.
Yep. But I think I think you get too many of the, you're doing good, that a boy, blah, blah, blah. You get very little ass chewings overall. With Regal, when you deserve an ass chewing, you're getting an ass chewing, and they will tell you why. This is what you want.
Yeah.
Has something changed? This is what your goals are. You're not doing the activity to get them. So do we blow up the goals, or do we, get
and that's one of the problems, to be quite honest, of being an independent advisor. There's no accountability. Now, I know your wife. I've had dinner with her. You have a very strong connection. I mean, there's no doubt about you two being together. You two can hold each other accountable. A lot of marriages aren't that strong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And they're not in tune with each other like you guys are. I made a promise to Deb when I told her to quit working, 26 years ago, is that, listen, here, I'm going to have to, this is when I was just personally producing. I'm like, here are my numbers I got to hit. Now, the good thing is she was in sales, so she got it. But if I don't hit these numbers by Friday night, I'm working Saturdays.
Yep. And
I'm going to miss the kids' soccer game. I'm going to miss this. And you're going to Costco by yourself type of thing, right? I might have missed it once, and I didn't want to listen to that again. So, you just buckle down and do what you got to do. But there's not a lot of accountability in an independent system. And if you're a one-man shop or a two-man shop and you've got an assistant, you're not going to talk to your employee about why you're failing in your goals or why you failed in marketing. You just you're alone.
Yeah.
And that's, hopefully this podcast is reaching a lot of people to let them know that there is support out there. But that's what I think we do well, is that we'll call you up and say, Carlos, we're supposed to do X this year. You're way behind. Let's get going.
Yep. Or
you're way ahead. What a great job. What are you doing this year differently than you did? Are you following? And we'll work with you, make plans, all that.
Yeah. But the process I think is good because it just raises expectations, right? On the client, this is what you can expect. This is how I work. And before they even commit to becoming the client, if they don't buy into it, then I don't waste time. That's one of the things too that I've learned with Regal. You know what? There's plenty of people that
not every prospect's a fit. And there's nothing wrong with just saying, no, I used to fire a lot of clients that we'd bring them in and they didn't, they didn't want to show up for reviews. They didn't want to, I'm like, no, I wish you well. This isn't the place for it. It's that old country song. You don't have to stay here. You can't stay here, but you got to get the heck out of here. I think that getting that fit of the right client. Let's talk about, you are probably one of the people that I could point to in our organization that masters referrals. You're the referral king. And I said, you had one nurse and you've gotten 8 referrals from her, right?
Yep.
And you've got a whole segment of nurses now that come to you, sort of becoming the financial planner for a whole segment of nursing professionals.
Yeah, it's awesome. Unexpected, completely unexpected. But I had one nurse came in, went to a seminar, came in, did the process, went through the process, all of that from beginning to end. They fell in love with it. And that nurse actually wanted to refer me to her friend, her best friend. Best friend was kind of dragging her feet. The nurse's husband's like, hey, you need to call my guy. You literally need to call my guy. And so that's how it started. Retired her. She's now moved to Texas from California, loving her retirement. And then it just started spreading like wildfire. So much that now I truly I'm starting to build that niche. And, that's part of the goals moving forward is.
Well, that's one of your goals for
Yep.
2025.
Start focusing on the medical.
Why do you think most advisors fail at referrals?
Because we don't have a process to generate referrals. I mean, we ask.
We have good intentions.
Yeah, we want them. Like, who the hell doesn't want a referral, right? And we ask, hey, do you know anybody, the typical whatever. But once we had the bio, and so...
Well, let's go back. Yeah, let's explain what the bio is and what we do and how we build out bios. Because C4G, you can see all the information on catalyst4growth.org, catalyst4growth.org. And there's a bio generator and stuff there. And if you're not with Regal or one of our IMO partners, we'll do those for you for a fee. Kevin Burwell does those. Mm-hmm. And those are gold. They're absolute gold.
Yeah, they are. And so getting into the referrals, it's really having a process. How do you get clients? Clients want to help you. They want you to help their friends, their loved ones, but they have a hard time, that warm handoff or introduction. And so I can go into the bio, how we started the bio. So Kevin, came up with this bio, he shared this referral marketing, we'll call it.
Yeah, I wrote a book. It's on our website, yep. But yeah, and he talks about the professional bio. It's different than a normal biography. Yeah.
And that blew me away because it went hand in hand to my discovery process, except it was put on paper. And the logic behind it is, here's the bio. It says who you are, what's important to you, your values, who your ideal client is. It gives a picture, and it doesn't say my ideal client is, but it draws a picture of who I've helped, how I've worked. And so when I started using
it's a power of alignment, right? The people are reading it. They don't know anything about you.
Yep.
And they're reading it and they're like, oh, I like this guy. Oh, yeah, I do that too. Or I go to that church, or mm-hmm. or I have 3 kids, or there's connections to be made. And as the reader's going through a professional biography, they're aligning with that advisor.
Yep.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
There.
And they're deciding right there whether they want to call them or not. And sometimes they don't, which is cool. Don't waste my time. I won't waste yours. But the ones who call off of the bio, who use it, mm-hmm. and it's just an easy first meeting, and then it goes from there. But that bio is what allowed me to grow my practice in the last, 2.5 years, like where I'm at a point now where I don't have to meet with everybody, the ideal client that's not there. It's okay if they're out of my book. I'd rather them leave because they take up too much time the other way. And so, yeah, that whole concept with the process, that is part of the process, is the bio. And it's a huge part. So any introductions that I get made to, I get CC'd on in an email. I include my bio. If it's a text, it's a bio with the text. So it's 3 people. It's my client, the referral, and myself. And it's a warm introduction with the bio. And it is completely changed.
And then, of course, you take those text clients and tell them you can only speak on email, and you move them over to email, right?
Yep.
Because I know you're very compliant, Carlos.
Oh, I have to be. And I have to be. I was trying to think of something else with the bio.
Well, we do with the bio now, and I don't know if it was done with yours, but we print the bio on one side and the process on the other.
No, I don't have that. I just listened to the episode that you guys were talking about that. I'm like, okay, that's the updated one.
So, if you're doing seminar marketing, you just have that bio sitting on top of the folder, right? Because you got to have your ADV, you got to have mm-hmm. ADV part 2, and then the other information. But we have it sitting outside of the folder. So the natural thing is they're going to pick it up. They got your mugshot on, and they're reading about you. And then they see the process, and then all of a sudden they know what to expect. Mm-hmm. All the mystery, all of the boogeyman issues, right, are all gone.
Yeah.
They know what to expect, when to expect it. They know that you're professional and you're well thought out, and that people have more, what is the word? More confidence when things are drafted out like that, mm-hmm. and actually connecting, because you're connecting, then you're getting up and you're presenting, or you're talking about your process in the initial part of the first interview. It just all dovetails together. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So the bio has been a big addition to the process and to the success in the referrals. Like, one of the things too, on the referral process, not everybody feels comfortable giving referrals. That's what I found out also. So another little piece to the referral marketing is asking your clients, hey, I know that sometimes people feel awkward giving referrals for whatever reason. You may have been burned, may have looked bad. If that is the case, would you please let me know now? And I'm going to put it into our notes, CRM. Do not ask for referrals, because moving forward, I will never ask you for a referral. But and when I say that, guess what? 9 out of 10 people say,
oh, no, I don't have a problem.
Yep. Just show me how you would like me to refer you.
That's very smart. That's very smart.
Yep. So it puts them in control. And then it's like, and I always tell them, if the referral falls through for whatever reason, don't take it personal. It's just, it wasn't the right time, the right fit, whatever it may be. But that part has changed also, where it makes it easier to ask for referrals. The very few, I don't even think I have one person who has said no to that question. Hey, if you don't feel comfortable referring me, I understand. I'll put it in the notes. We'll never ask you for a referral, and we can just.
That's really cool. It's a great idea. I wasn't. That's the first time I heard of that. That's a great idea. I think where the referral process breaks down is because people don't ask. The advisor doesn't think the work they do is worthy of a referral. They're happy they got a client.
Maybe that's why they didn't ask. Huh?
And they didn't ask. I really think there's a lot of that, and I think we need to focus more on that. That is the most least inexpensive way of acquiring a client, right? And if you're not tracking as an advisor what the cost of your leads are, or the cost of a client, acquiring a client, you're not running your practice as a business. And you really need to look at that, because it's easy to dump hundreds of thousands of dollars into marketing over a couple of years and not have anything to show for it. So we like building prospecting sort of funnels, different ones. Mm-hmm. And one of them is wallet share, meaning that we'll work with inside that household, that family. Mm-hmm. There's usually, we're arrogant to think we get all the money. There's always other money in the house. But the referral strategy is also another funnel. And those are very little cost. That's just organization and being persistent. But when you have those referrals, I mean, how many referrals do you think you get in a year? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I know, I'm trying to think. It could be 20, 25.
And how many of those are you converting?
Probably in the process, probably about a third, with no overhead cost, anything of acquisition.
So you're picking up 8 to 9 clients a year, right? So we got to work on improving that ratio.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But 25 referrals a year is a great amount.
Yeah. It's
especially for a book your size. That's a great amount.
Yeah. And I've only been implementing that referral for the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. And
probably a year and a half.
Yeah. So it's still a process that's getting better, and, just kind of tweaking it with different things. Just another option that'll help for the referral building is the book that's coming out. Having the book, being able to hand something to get them to start
the mission
thinking,
retirement book,
right? The mission retirement book. So that's going to be another aspect or a tweak into the referral, But yeah, referrals are huge, man.
Yeah, we even wrote a letter. It's just the gift for the advisor. So it's going to be on the catalyst4growth.org website, but there's a PDF, fillable PDF that we've really already done the letter. So all you need to do is put your name and everything, run it through compliance, and then, have a blessing. So that's great. So what do you think is the number one thing that's helped your career grow?
Right here, brother. Regal.
Wow.
My relationship with Regal. I literally, when I tell people, I did not know anything about this business when I came to you guys after 2 years. Zero.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd say that. Thank you. That's very humbling. Yeah, that's very humbling.
I don't say that. I don't just say that to say it because you're here. I truly believe that. I tell people.
Well, because I am your ride back to the hotel.
But even before, when we had that conversation, the first meeting, I remember thinking, okay, because I still at that point wasn't a Regal affiliate. I had my DBA.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it was a hard thing for me to switch over to Regal. It wasn't something I was looking for.
Yeah, but we have a lot of advisors that don't, but you did it because it's easier to market.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've told you, the mantra I would tell myself is I'd rather shovel my own shit than someone else's gold. So I wasn't looking to be part of Regal, but after seeing you, getting to know you, getting to see the process, everything that came along with it, it was an easy buy-in. I think I even told you, dude, I'm drinking the freaking Kool-Aid. So, I'm joining Regal. But it's been the biggest blessing.
I remember that conversation.
It's been the biggest blessing. And so even though I still have to market myself independently because I'm the advisor, but the support of Regal, that has changed my life. Like literally my family's life, my kids' life, my mom's life, my dad's life, my nephews, nieces, all this stuff, not just money-wise, the financial, but the things we learn apart from the money stuff. It's your experience. You're taking me under your wing and being like, hey, calling me up on a Sunday. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's going on? Or even just to, hey, are you watching this fight? Are you watching whatever it may be? It's those relationships that.
By the way, we got to talk about Canelo Crawford. I guess it's coming in September.
Really?
Yeah.
I keep telling my boys that's the only person that I think like legit weight that will be a fight that may take him out.
Yeah, that's tough.
Crawford's a beast.
But I was in a car and I was driving and I was with my son. And you were on, came speakerphone, and you were wishing me a Merry Christmas.
Oh, you sent me the voicemail.
I usually do now.
Yeah.
You're always a great call. So, but no, the message that we talked and how you were so thankful about Regal and the people, it literally made my holiday. Because, I'm sitting here with my kid and he's like, and I'm tough on him. I'm tough on a lot of people because I expect them. I expect the best out of people. Yep. And sometimes people don't have the courage to do it themselves. And you need that little, master sergeant kick in the ass, right? Yep. And I've been that way with my kids and they're overachievers and I'm proud of them. But to hear how profoundly thankful you were during the holidays, it was incredible. And, we're going down the road, you hang up the call, and we're almost in tears after the phone call. It was very special, and I thank you for that.
Oh, no, thank you.
It'll be one of the things that my son will remember, that because he loves you. You've known my son in a long time, so.
No, but that's the impact you guys have made on our lives. And I say my family, on our lives. My kids haven't met you yet. They've heard a lot about you. Chris has met you, and she loves you, and Deb, and, but we don't get through life individually, man. It's not a one-man show. It's not me. It's not, oh yeah, it's all me. I did it. Oh, your success. It's not you. It's everybody, that's come and gone throughout the process.
I always tell people I'm incredibly flawed. And what I've done in my life is I found great people around me that have skills and talents and that are different than mine that make me better, make me a better leader. Yep. And you listed a bunch of them today in the podcast, the Lee Coles, the Bill Bests, the Don Carlsons, the Heather Christmans. They're just great people. Yeah. They're people that even if I didn't work with, I'd go have a beer with.
Yep.
I'd want to spend time with them because they're good people. And I think that's one of our secret sauces.
Yeah. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I go to every one of the trainings in Michigan. Like I don't miss them because I want to hang out with everybody. I want to see everybody. And yeah, but that is definitely the number one reason that I've grown in this business is because of Regal, what all of you have provided.
That's very kind.
It really is.
Well, it's also a heck of a lot of hard work and, getting knocked down and standing up. All the effort and attitude goes towards you. So we can just point you in the right direction and give you some resources. But you've done an incredible job. And literally, you came from nothing. And you're a hell of a good broker now.
Yeah, I'm working on it. And
never stops, man.
No,
never stops.
It really doesn't.
So, well, I want to thank you for spending time with me today here. And again, we're at the Vegas Content Studios with Carlos Guzman. He's in Southern Cal, San Dimas. You can reach out, get him, talk to him directly on the Regal website, regalfin.com. But if you want to contact myself or use any of the resources at Catalyst for Growth, it's Catalyst number 4 growth.org. We're going to drop episodes every single week with talented brokers like Carlos and have candid conversations about what can make you better each and every day. So I appreciate you attending today or listening. We will catch you next week with another great episode. Thank you.
Hey, thank you for your time today. We will have another content-packed session posted next week. Please check our website, catalystforgrowth.org, for our legal disclosures on the bottom of our homepage, if you're into that sort of thing.